Tomgi frame hape, Kedi frame hape. kitchen ga bathroom ga da hoi ching ga chan han ya hoi le ba chan han ya Tenki du su chao ma tawre ai na le ta chang ko da hai ge to ne ko gi do ma hai ba mi ma sa ho na maidu lausanꯗꯒꯤ su adagi bathroom na tabo na ma ma ne ne ka pan du ti na na khaja ga ma di ko chin na khai Jadi mi le ya mi na hang ya jo do ra ko do ra man hai na ya na chuna le na de di bora kha ko te shuru ko da kha da are ni ba hai da khadar bada da si lo to na le
CP? 3,000 CPs. Oh.
On November 16th, representatives from nearly 60 nations will be meeting in Versailles, France, to vote to change the definition of a kilogram. Not only that, they will also be changing the fundamental unit of temperature, the Kelvin, the unit for amount of substance, the mole, and the unit for electric current, the ampere. That is 4 of the 7 base SI units in one day. And after that, all SI units will be based on fundamental constants of nature and not physical artifacts. The kilogram is the last base SI unit to be defined by a physical object. Since 1799, 1 kilogram has been defined as exactly the mass of a single metal cylinder stored in Paris. It was swapped out once in 1889. But this international prototype kilogram, or Big K as it's affectionately known, has problems. I mean, weighing it with, in theory, identical cylinders, scientists have found that their masses are diverging, so it doesn't even seem to maintain its mass. Plus, it's really hard to get access to Big K, and that makes using this definition really difficult. So how do you create a mass standard that will never change and also be available to everyone, everywhere? Well, the solution is you set Planck's constant to have a fixed, exact value. Now, I know that sounds a little strange, so bear with me for a moment. I mean, Planck's constant is best known for relating the frequency of a photon, a particle of light, to its energy. But we also know that energy and mass are related through E equals mc squared. So hopefully you can see how Planck's constant is involved in mass. But the problem, as it stands today, as I'm recording this video, is that Planck's constant has some uncertainty. I mean, we know the value of Planck's constant to a large number of decimal places, but those last couple of digits, they're actually uncertain. What is certain is the mass of that platinum iridium cylinder stored in a climate-controlled vault in a basement in Paris. It is exactly 1 kilogram, no uncertainty. So the solution is to flip this on its head. Set Planck's constant to have an exact fixed value, and then that cylinder in Paris will no longer be exactly 1 kilogram. I mean, it'll be a kilogram, but not exactly. The thing that is now exact is Planck's constant, which determines how big a kilogram is. But if you're gonna fix the value of Planck's constant, well, you better get that value right so that it's consistent with all of our current measurements and all of the masses that exist in the world right now. And so for the last several years, scientists around the world have used multiple different techniques to try to measure Planck's constant as accurately as they possibly can. One of the major methods was using a watt balance, where essentially they balance the weight of a kilogram with the force from an electromagnet. If you want more detail, you should check out my video on that topic. Scientists also created arguably the roundest object in the world, made of one type of silicon atoms. These methods have been complementary because now they're able to compare all of their different findings from physics and from this more chemistry method of Avogadro's constant and determine what Planck's constant really should be. So if the vote goes well, the future definition of Planck's constant will be that it is exactly this number. Planck's constant is fixed. That cylinder in Paris, no longer exactly equal to a kilogram. But you can't redefine the kilogram in isolation because other base SI units depend on it. Take the mole, for example. Currently, the mole is defined as the amount of substance that contains the same number of particles as there are atoms in 12 grams of carbon-12. That's Avogadro's constant. And it depends on what 12 grams is, which depends on what a kilogram is. So again, Avogadro's constant currently has some uncertainty. But after the vote, the plan is to fix Avogadro's constant to be exactly this number, in such a way that it is internally consistent with the new definition of Planck's constant. There's a direct relationship between Avogadro's constant and Planck's constant. Likewise, the ampere will no longer depend on the kilogram. Instead, it will be defined based on this newly fixed value for the charge on an electron. And the Kelvin will be based on the newly fixed Boltzmann constant, which relates the temperature of a gas to the average kinetic energy of the molecules. And this will be its exact value with no uncertainties. Now, will these new definitions change anything? Well, for most people, no. I mean, your food is still going to weigh the same, as are you, and temperature is still going to work the same way. You know, everything basically stays the same. And that is as it should be. The point of this definition change is not to shake things up, but to keep things consistent and reliable forever. All we're doing is removing the dependence on a physical object, which theoretically at least makes it possible for anyone, anywhere to make incredibly precise measurements. Now, I should point out that a volt will actually change by about 1 part in 10 million, and resistance will change by a little bit less than that. And that's because back in 1990, the electrical metrologists decided to stop updating their value of effectively Planck's constant and just keep the one they had in 1990. And there was a benefit to that. They didn't have to update their definitions or their instruments. But now that we've realized that Planck's constant is actually slightly different than the 1990 value because of better measurement techniques, well, now the electrical metrologists will have to change. But that's a very tiny change for a very tiny number of people. I think they'll be fine.
Hey, what's up? So in the next 60 seconds, what I'm going to show you is how you can get paid weekly, monthly, and even daily by applying this simple little concept of Facebook ads and funnels. So if you have been on Facebook, you would have seen these
ไม่จะสร้างตัวนี้
Project.
ไม่ยุ่ง
अरे क्या कर रहा है? हेलो, क्या कर रहा है? हीरो के हीरो के तुम? ठीक है, ऐसे ही करते हैं तुम, पता है मुझे। हम भी डालेंगे आ रहे हैं। मेरा आज मेरा आज 3,000 लॉस हो गया है। बहुत दुख हो रहा है। 3,000 लॉस हो गया। हाँ भाई। उल्टा हो गया भाई। हाँ भाई, 3,000 प्रॉफिट होगा सोचा था, 3,000 लॉस हो गया। क्योंकि प्रॉफिट भी तो ज्यादा होगा ना, ज्यादा पैसा होने से। जीरो था। ये कल 1,100 प्रॉफिट हुआ था। सोचा सोचा आज भी होगा, ये जगह जोश में क्या हो रहा है, फिर साला लॉस हुआ, फिर दोबारा किया, फिर लॉस हुआ, फिर दोबारा किया, फिर लॉस हुआ, टोटल 3,000 लॉस हुआ। तुम लोग क्या कर रहे हो? तुम लोग क्या कर रहे हो? तुम लोग क्या कर रहे हो?
thôi nè
हम कुछ नहीं करेगा, हम ट्यूशन करवाएंगे ना। हम कुछ नहीं करेगा, हम ट्यूशन करवाएंगे। हम कुछ नहीं करेगा, कुछ नहीं करेगा हम। क्या हो गया है मेरा बात को? ए, हर कोई बोलता है मेरा। ठीक है, हम आएगा तो 4 तारीख को आएगा। हमको घुसाने देना उसमें, हमको उसमें घुसाने देना। हमको उसमें घुसाने देना बस।
मानी ने
क्या बोला
कोई ने मैं दांपंग नहीं कमाई तो ने जाना बाकी
magic in summer.